Hey everybody, Mike Norman here, and I was just thinking again about the results of the midterm elections, and it's kind of unbelievable how people voted against their own interests. I mean, I'm sure a lot of folks don't think they did. I'm sure they think they voted in their interest, and maybe in one sense they're correct. But I mean, unless you're a billionaire or a huge corporation or some gun nut, you basically did not vote in your interest. If you're in the middle class, if you're in a lower income strata, and you voted Republican, then you definitely did not vote in your interest. Now, I mentioned in my last video that I think the Republicans are going to crash the economy by virtue of the fact that I do not believe there's going to be a debt ceiling increase next year. These were the words of Mitch McConnell. He said, we'll deal with the debt in a fiscal way. In other words, with spending cuts. So when you don't raise the debt ceiling, okay, you set in motion this vicious circle down to eventual default. The whole system defaults, as I explained last time. You know, the government goes instantly into balanced budget mode of operating. Anyone who thinks that it's a good thing for the government to run a balanced budget, well, you're going to get your opportunity to see what that looks like. So you can only spend what you take in taxes. So right now, if we're running a $500 billion deficit, that goes away. So $500 billion less spending. The economy slows down. Tax revenues drop. They have to cut spending further. Economy slows down further. Tax revenues drop over and over again. And at the same time, you suspend the automatic stabilizers. Things like Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, veterans benefits, disability benefits. How do you pay those, right? You can only pay what you're taking in taxes, and the tax revenues go down because the economy is slowing up and unemployment is going up, and then people are left without unemployment. It's a disaster, and it throws the whole thing into default. Might be great for billionaires. I don't know how great it's going to be for corporate profits, but then again, they'll probably just try to tap into overseas demand, as they always do, run some trade deals through. And by the way, if you're looking for Obama, if you're a Democrat and you think Obama is going to veto this stuff, he's not going to veto this stuff. Maybe the only thing he's going to veto is the repeal of Obamacare. That's if there's anything left of it after the Supreme Court gets done with it. They're hearing arguments on aspects of the law right now, which could end up, if they go ahead with that and decide in favor of the plaintiffs in this case, then basically the law is gutted. How does an entire, and remember back in 2012, all the pundits, right, were saying that's it for the Republican Party. You know, they're toast. I did not say that. I'm not a political pundit, but I did not say that. But those were terrible, terrible calls. How do people end up voting against their own interests? This is how. People are fed up. They've had enough. They have seen trillions and trillions of dollars thrown at Wall Street and the banks and the financial industry. Maybe millions of them have lost their homes. They've lost their jobs. Their income has not gone up at all. They're in debt. There's very little prospect of gaining meaningful employment right now. They see the president supporting fiscal austerity. They see the president proposing things like grand bargains to cut the social safety net. A Democrat wanting to cut the very programs that have kept millions of people out of poverty for decades, programs that were created by Democrats. He wants to cut them, okay? They have seen him total silence when it comes to collective bargaining for public employees. Remember, I'll put on a comfortable pair of shoes and I'll walk the picket line, you know, if I have to, when he was running for president in the first term. Total impunity for these Wall Street criminals and the fraud and the massive criminality. Justice Department just absent, completely nowhere on this. So people are frustrated. People are sick and tired. Even if they lean towards the Democrats, they're like, I don't want these guys anymore either. I could understand that. So get rid of all of them. Give me a party who's talking about smaller government. They got the Republicans. But smaller government is only means for you, okay? It doesn't mean smaller government for large corporations and the wealthy who are going to get more welfare, more payments, more government largesse in their favor. The spending cuts, don't forget what spending cuts are now fiscally. Spending cuts are the fiscal equivalent of a tax increase. So when they cut spending to give all these tax breaks to the wealthy and all these, corporate tax breaks and this sort of stuff, when they're paying interest on bonds and government securities, when they do all that, they're taking it away from you at the same time with the spending cuts. So you're being taxed. If you're in the middle class, they're imposing a tax on you. If you're poor, you're getting taxed. Whether you believe it or not, you're getting taxed to pay for all that stuff for the wealthy. So that's the GOP. I am not, one of these doomsday kind of people, but look, when you get the right scenario, when you get the right setup in terms of policy, it's all about policy. These people got their hands on the buttons and the levers, and when you push them just right in combination, you can shut the whole thing down. You can throw the whole system into default. So I do think that's coming. Unless, of course, we find a few more new wars that we can fight, because war is a very profitable, and sorry if I sound really cynical here, but I mean, come on. How could you not be at this point? Seriously, right? That's it for now. See you next time. Bye-bye.